Hare Krishna, everyone. Welcome back to the daily readings of Srila Prabhupada's books right here in the live studios. And it's becoming more live every day. Here in Hythe, Kent, southeast England, just near the English Channel, and where we have a recording booth that I sat in for 5.5 hours today, almost 6 hours. But it's worth it because it's pretty blissful hearing Chaitanya Charitamrita, 5-6 hours a day. Pretty blissful. But it's topping it off with the Brhad Bhagavatamrta is even more blissful. We hope you are all safe and well and happy, and we aim to add to that happiness tonight. Srimad Bhagavatamrta Stotram by Srila Sanatana Goswami, 5 beautiful verses glorifying the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is the basis of the Brihad Bhagavatamrita. It goes like this. Sarva Shastrabdi Piyusha, Sarva Vedaika Satpala, Sarva Siddhanta Ratnaja, Sarva Lokaika Drikprada. O nectar from the ocean of all scriptures, singular fruit of all the Vedas, rich mine of the precious gems of all conclusive truths. You are the only giver of sight to all the worlds. Sarva Bhagavata Prana, Srimad Bhagavata Prabho, Kalidwandudita Ditya, Sri Krishna Parivartita. O life air of all the Supreme Lord's devotees, O Master, Srimad Bhagavatam, you are the sun risen in the darkness of Kali. You are the exact image of Sri Krishna. Paramananda Pataya, Prema Varshakshadayate, Sarvada Sarvasevyaya, Sri Krishnaya Namostume. I bow down to you, who are supremely blissful to read. Your every syllable pours down a flood of prema. You can always be served by everyone. You are Sri Krishna himself. Madeka Bando Matsangin, Madguru Man Mahadana, Manistadaga Mad Bhagya, Mad Ananda Namostute. My only friend, my constant companion, my spiritual master, my great wealth, my savior, my good fortune, my source of ecstasy, I bow down to you. Asadhu sadhuta dayin adini chuchatakara hanamun chikadachin mam premna rit kantayospura. O bestower of saintliness to the unsaintly, O exalter of the most fallen, please never leave me. Always appear in my heart and my voice with pure love. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So, Parikshit Maharaj has decided to explain to his mother, Uttara, a story he had heard from his spiritual master. And it begins with a Brahmana from Pragtishjotir. It's in Assam, and there's a very famous temple there, Kamakya, the deity of Durga, famous deity of Durga, Kamakya. And he was materialistic, he wasn't particularly spiritually inclined, but the deity favored him and gave him a mantra and convinced him by coming to him in dreams twice to actually take it up. And so he's doing that now. And he's come to Varanasi or Benares, and he's associating with some sannyasis there. And that's where we stand. We're beginning with text 47, sorry. This is the Brahmana talking. The intelligence of these sannyasis was pure, or at least seemed so from their philosophical talks. Their words described liberation as something readily available, as if held in the palm of one's hand, and this inspired him to accept their opinions as perfect. Rather, this is Parikshit speaking about the Brahmana. Text 48-49. He would constantly hear from them the statements of Vedanta that glorify renunciation and liberation. He would bathe in the Manikarnika Ghat and have darshan of Lord Vishveshwara, and without having to work for his meals, he would enjoy tasty food to his liking in the company of the sannyasis. He thus developed the desire to become a sannyasi himself. Text 50. Still, out of respect for the goddess, and because it gave him pleasure within, he never gave up chanting his mantra. And one day, he saw the deity of his mantra in a dream. Commentary. The Pragjyotish Pur Brahmana's faith was damaged by the impersonal propaganda he had heard in Kashi, which replaced his hope to meet the Lord of the universe with a false hope to merge into oneness. Nonetheless, he went on with his mantra japa because he held the goddess Kamakya in awe and was unwilling to violate her order. Despite his weakened faith in the mantra, it continued to exert its transcendental influence. His heart could derive no substantial contentment from the promises of the Vedanta texts, because he spontaneously felt more gratification from chanting Lord Gopal's mantra. Perhaps the Brahmana's attraction to liberation could never have been dispelled had Sri Gopal, the deity of his mantra, not personally appeared in his dream. Or perhaps his hope for liberation would have dissipated anyway by the power of the mantra. In any case, his heart changed. Text 51. The charm of Sri Gopal attracted him and gave him the greatest ecstasy, and therefore he could no longer find the mental strength to engage in anything other than chanting his mantra. Commentary. He no longer felt any enthusiasm for sannyas or liberation. What to speak of sacred baths and other rituals. Text 52. Confused about what he should do, he became depressed. Then, in another dream, Lord Shiva came to him, along with the goddess, to instruct him. Commentary. His heart was drawn to Lord Gopal, but his mind was in a dilemma. Should I take sannyas and strive for liberation, or should I just chant my mantra? Such is the likely result of fellowship with impersonalists. One's determination becomes fickle, and one cannot choose the right thing to do. In his third appearance in the Brahmana's dreams, the goddess Kamakya brought along her husband, the Lord of Kashi, to make her case. Text 53. Lord Shiva said, "Foolish man, don't take sannyas. Go at once to Sri Mathura. There, in the Vrindavan forest, you will surely fulfill your desires, all your desires." Text 54. Eager to go to Mathura, the Brahmanas set off toward that district, all the while chanting its glories. On the way, he came to Prayag. Commentary. The Brahmana headed west, repeatedly chanting Mathura, Mathura. Text 55. There at the king of holy places, by the charming Yamuna within the Ganga, he found hundreds of saints who had gathered near the effulgent lotus feet of Lord Madhava to bathe at dawn in the month of Magh. Commentary. Prayag is called the king of tirthas because there one discovers one's heart's devotion to the personality of Godhead. At Prayag, the Ganga and Yamuna unite, and downstream, from their confluence, the Yamuna is considered present on one side of the Ganga. This is the Yamuna within the Ganga. Ganga and Yamuna are not only physically united at Prayag, they also share an intimate bond of love for Krishna. Text 56. On every side, he saw them conducting a great festival for worship of Sri Vishnu, with expressions of joyful devotion like constant singing, offering of obeisances, and recitation of prayers. The festival was splendid, with loud congregational chanting of the Lord's names, along with music, dancing, sobbing, and plaintive cries of love. Commentary. In addition to what the verse mentions, the Brahmana saw the elaborate arrangements for feeding and worshipping the Lord in his deity form. The same deity, Bindu Madhava, was seen by Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu when he visited Prayag. Text 57. Innocent, ignorant, and amazed, he said to those Vaishnavas, "Excuse me, you singers, you reciters of prayers, and you who are falling on the ground like rods." Commentary. Never before having seen such behavior, or even heard of it, the Brahmana didn't know what to think. He was unaware of Vaishnava etiquette and unable to distinguish the Vaishnavas from ordinary stage performers and court reciters, people not worthy of any special respect. And so he naively interrupted the Sankirtan and addressed the Vaishnavas according to their external behavior, not seeing their internal spiritual status. Text 58 and 59. My dear musicians, dear chanters and dancers, loudly weeping and crying out, Rama, Krishna, you men adored with beautiful tilak and garlands, please calm down for a moment and stop making such a racket. What is this ceremony you are observing? Whom are you so reverently worshipping? Commentary. He mistook some of the Vaishnavas for ordinary musicians, dancers, and chanters of mundane slogans, but at least he admired the beauty of their Vishnu tilak, which resemble in form, a temple to Vishnu. Since he was unaware of the transcendental value of the sound of the Supreme Lord's names sung loudly in public congregation, he judged the Sankirtan to be needless noise. He assumed that these people had meaningful work to do and wondered why they were neglecting their duties to indulge in frivolity. Or, as he suggested in his questions, he thought this might be some strange kind of ritual duty or even the unusual worship of some deity. Text 60. Some of the Vaishnavas simply laughed on hearing this. Others told him, "You fool, just be quiet." Yet others, compassionate to fallen souls, said to him something else. Commentary. Some participants in the Sankirtan festival, who were newcomers to devotional service, began ridiculing the Brahmana. "Oh, you are the best of sages, the most learned scholar. Yes, you are right. We are all out of our wits, and this noise is a public nuisance." Some of the intermediate sadhakas in the group were angered by his comments. Others, the fully self-realized devotees in the assembly, showed him the same compassion they felt for all living beings. As real friends of the conditioned souls, they frankly told him what he needed to hear. Text 61. The holy Vaishnava said, "Hey, foolish son of a Brahmana, why don't you know anything? Don't you know anything? Don't ever again address Vishnu's devotees like that and speak such nonsense to them." Commentary. The Paramahamsas were obviously disappointed that despite his birth in a Brahmana family, he was such a fool. Out of kindness, they advised him to refrain from treating Vaishnavas like materialistic people. He should never again ask them to stop making noise as if they were ordinary singers and reciters. Text 62. Initiated by our gurus, we always worship the Supreme Lord Vishnu with the mantras and methods they have given us. Commentary. What distinguished the Sankirtan devotees from the Pragjyotishpur Brahmana was that they had accepted Vaishnava initiation from authorized acharyas and were practicing devotional service according to the instructions of their spiritual masters. Because the Brahmana lacked the mercy of a pure devotee, his chanting of the Gopal mantra was bearing undeveloped results instead of mature fruit. Real spiritual knowledge had eluded him. 63. O best of Brahmanas, we are worshipping the Lord in various forms. Some of us worship him in his feature as Nrisingha, some as Lord Raghunath, and others as Sri Gopal. Commentary. Having been initiated into various Vishnu mantras, the Vaishnavas were worshipping the Lord in various expansions, including four-armed Narayana and his avatars, Matsya, Kurma, Varaha, and Vamana. Text 64. Sri Parikshit said, ashamed, the Brahmana then asked, with great humility, but with joy, where does this Lord live? What is he like? What boons is he able to grant? Commentary. This Lord, the devotees called Vishnu, was unknown to the Brahmana, who was curious whether the Lord lived in a village, a city, or somewhere else. What god, human, or animal did his form resemble? What special powers did he have? And what wealth could he give to his devotees? Text 65. The holy Vaishnava said, he is the Supreme Master, and he always lives everywhere, both within and without. No one anywhere compares with him in any respect. Commentary. In the material world, all things are limited in time, space, and substance. A person in a particular body, for example, has only a certain lifespan. Before and after, he is absent from that body. His bodily existence occupies but a small space within the universe. He may move from one place to another, but only within strict limits. And his identity is separate from that of any other person or thing. Lord Vishnu, however, is not an ordinary person, limited in these or other ways. He pervades all time and space, and all other individual people and things are also part of him. This answers the question, where does he live? In reply to the question, what is he like? The Vaishnavas say that he is incomparable. No one's beauty or other personal qualities are equal to his, neither within this world nor outside it. Text 66. He is the Supersoul within the heart of every living being, the Lord of all lords of the universe, the all-attractive, concentrated embodiment of eternity, knowledge, and bliss. He dwells in the world of Vaikuntha, where he can always be seen, and to his servants he gives his very self. Commentary. Ignorant of the many aspects of the Supreme Lord's personality, the Brahmana might doubt how one could devote oneself to a person who has no particular identity or location. Here the Vaishnavas assure the Brahmana that the Lord does have his own manifold identities and locations. He is the Supersoul, both of the entire universe and of each individual living being. Thus his greatness manifests itself within and without. He is the ruler of all lords of the many universes. Whatever powers and assets other rulers possess, he has also, but in quantity without limit. He is the Supreme Absolute Truth in person, and his primary location is Vaikuntha. Even though as the indwelling Supersoul he is hidden, his opulences are fully visible in his form as the Lord of Vaikuntha, whom his devotees can see to their heart's delight. His beauty, charm, and countless other transcendental qualities are all attractive. And in answer to the question, what can he give? The answer is his own self. By this the Vaishnavas imply that he can easily bestow pure devotion and eternal residence in Vaikuntha. What to speak of the four goals of material life? As expressed by the prefix pra in the verb prayachchiti, he liberally gives all this plus himself, which further implies that he and his servants share a flood of boundless ecstasy. Text 67. The Shrutis and Smritis glorify him. Who can describe his greatness? But while you are here, please listen to the profuse histories spoken about him from the Puranas. Commentary. This holy pilgrimage site, Prayag, the king of Tirthas, is a most suitable place for hearing the glories of the Supreme Lord from the authoritative histories recorded in the Puranas. 68. Just bow down to Lord Madhava and behold him, the direct manifestation of the Lord of the universe, and soon you will understand for yourself all this and much more. Commentary. The Lord of Vaikuntha can be seen directly in his image as Madhava, the presiding deity of Dasashwamedha in Prayag. In a short time the Vaishnavas were speaking to the Pragjoteshpur Brahmana. They could only hint at the glories of Lord Vishnu. But if the Brahmana were to follow their advice by listening to the Puranas, bowing down to Lord Madhava, and meditating on the deity's beautiful form, more realization would automatically be revealed within his heart. Text 69. Sri Parikshit said, thus, while looking at Sri Madhava and bowing down to him, the Brahmana noticed some resemblance between Sri Madhava and the Lord on whom he meditated while chanting his mantra. Commentary. Just as the Vaishnavas had predicted, By associating with Lord Madhava, the Brahmana began to realize transcendental knowledge. He noticed that certain features of the deity, like the shape of his mouth and eyes, were similar to the features of the Lord whom he sometimes envisioned while chanting his mantra. Text 70. There, at Dashashwamedha Ghat, he heard some passages from the Puranas in the company of the Vaishnavas, and he saw various deities of Vishnu they worshipped. Commentary. In the presence of Lord Madhava, he listened to discussions on such portions of the Puranas as the Goloka-mähätmya of Sri Padma Purana, Uttarakhanda, which praises bathing at Prayag in the month of Magh. By hearing in the company of pure devotees, he became affected by their strong faith and ecstatic mood. 71. Nonetheless, he remained ignorant, unable to recognize that his own worshipable deity was the same Lord Madhava, the ruler of the universe and master of the saintly devotees. Commentary. Anyone with good discrimination would have been able to deduce from the similarities between Lord Madhava and Lord Gopal that the deity of the Brahmana's mantra was the very same Lord of the universe appearing at Dashashwamedha Ghat. The Brahmana, however, was too foolish. Text 72. He continued to think that this Madhava, the Lord of the universe, was the object of worship for these Vaishnavas, and that his object of worship was someone else. Commentary. The Brahmana had enough trust in the words of the Vaishnavas to be convinced that the deity of Madhava was indeed the Supreme Lord, but he hadn't accepted enough of their mercy to understand that all along he had been worshipping the same Lord with his mantra. Text 73. Lord Madhava has 4 arms, he thought, and is decorated with a conch shell, disc, club, and lotus. This is not my deity. Why should my Lord look like this? Commentary. The Pancharatras describe the form of Lord Madhava among the 24 Vyuha expansions of Narayana. Gada Shankha Chakra Padman Bibran Madhava Uchate. When the Lord is holding his club, conch shell, disc, and lotus, in that order, clockwise, from his lower right hand, he is called Madhava. Text 74. My Lord doesn't appear as half man, half lion. He doesn't become a dwarf or take the forms of a fish, a turtle, a hog, and the like. Text 75. Nor does he become the Lord of the Raghus with the signs of a king and a bow in his hand. But maybe my deity does somewhat resemble the Gopal worshipped by some of these devotees. Commentary. The Brahmana could not identify the deity of his mantra with Lord Ramachandra, who appeared as a great king with the royal symbols of throne, chamaras, and white umbrella. Text 76. Still, I cannot imagine that my deity is the Lord of the universe. My deity doesn't have the characteristics I have heard described in the glorification of the month of Magh and other scriptural texts. Commentary. Lord Madhava of Prayag is described in the story of Devadyuti, which is included in the Magh-mähätmya of the Padma Purana, Uttarakhanda, 128, 202, and 129, 44. He saw the Lord seated on Garuda. The Lord's complexion was the color of a new rain cloud. He had 4 arms and broad eyes, and he was decorated with all kinds of ornaments. Brahma and the other demigods, Sanaka, and the other yogis and Kapila and the other perfected mystics want to see you in person. The current verse says that the Brahmana heard from Magha-mahatmya Yadao, the Magha-mahatmya, and other texts. Those other texts may have included the section of Sri Skanda Purana that glorifies Prayag Tirtha. Text 77. With his many cowherd friends, my Lord takes care of the cows in the forest. He holds a flute to his mouth and is decorated with forest ornaments. Just like an ordinary person, he transgresses the religious principles of saints, being always greedy to enjoy amorous pastimes with all the cowherd girls. Commentary. Arguing on the strength of the evidence he has gathered about his Gopal from meditating on the mantra, the Brahmana here tries to prove that the deity of his own mantra cannot be the Lord of the universe. The Brahmana's worshipable Gopal is always in the forest with his friends, busy taking care of his cows. His flute is usually near his mouth because he very much likes playing on it. He also likes to decorate himself with forest items like peacock feathers, garlands of kadamba flowers, and red oxide tilak for his forehead, and rings of gunja berries for his ears. Like a wayward materialist, he violates the laws of cultured behavior by consorting with other men's wives and behaving in other socially forbidden ways, none of which suits the character of the Supreme Lord of the universe. Even if in some features the Brahmana's Gopal resembles the Gopal worshipped by some of the local Vaishnavas, the Narayana expansion called Gopal, that Gopal Narayana cannot be the same person. Lord Narayana could hardly go wandering in the forest tending cows, nor habitually break the principles of religion. Text 78. By the power of the goddess, I have felt bliss in worshipping him. Therefore, I shall never abandon him or my chanting of his mantra. Commentary. Vaishnavas may question how one can realize ecstasy in worshipping anyone other than the Supreme Lord, but the Brahmana counters that it is possible by the potency of the goddess Kamakya. Since she ordered him to always chant this mantra, and since he feels such pleasure in chanting, why should he give it up? Text 79. Thus the Brahmana continued chanting his mantra in seclusion as before, and by the power of the saintly company of the Vaishnavas, he would see his Lord as if directly in person. Commentary. Since the ignorant Brahmana backed the instructions and blessings of a pure devotee spiritual master. I'm sorry, I'll read that again. I made a mistake. Commentary. Since the ignorant Brahmana lacked the instructions and blessings of a pure devotee spiritual master, he had not yet developed true knowledge and faith. But still, he was reaping the benefits of sadhu sangha in Prayag. Even without the support of Guru and Shastra, he was making some advancement by associating favorably with Vaishnavas. He kept chanting the 10-syllable Gopal mantra, and his heart became more and more cleansed. And as his heart became more and more cleansed, he entered into an intense meditation in which he saw his Lord as vividly as if the Lord were physically present. Text 80. Because of the nature of the object of his meditation, he sometimes fainted in ecstasy, and when he woke up and noticed that the time for chanting his mantra had passed, he would lament. Commentary. Sometimes the ecstasy of his meditation made all the external functions of his senses stop, as if he had achieved samadhi. This symptom was but a superficial reflection of the advanced conditions of bhava and prema. It arose not from mature understanding of the object of meditation, but from the transcendental influence of the object himself. Text 81. What is the cause of this disturbance? Now I am in great trouble. Night has fallen before I could finish today's chanting. Commentary. That night had come before he could finish his chanting, was an upadrava, or cause of pain, as well as a bigna, an obstruction to fulfilling his vow to chant a prescribed number of mantras daily. Text 82. Have I fallen asleep? Or become haunted by a ghost? Oh, I am so wicked that even when I have reason to be sad, I feel happiness in my heart. Commentary. Trying to answer his own question about the cause of the problem, the Brahmana guessed that he might have fallen asleep, but since he didn't feel tired, he guessed again that something else might have happened, like having been attacked by a ghost. Text 83. One day, however, while lamenting in this way, as he began to feel drowsy from fasting, he saw Lord Madhava, who consoled him and gave him this instruction. Commentary. Once again the Brahmana had fallen into a trance of ecstasy, and upon waking he had become upset with himself. This time he felt so discouraged that he finished the day without eating, which made him feel very sleepy. Lord Madhava, the deity of Dasashwamedha-tirtha, then appeared to him in his sleep-like state and said something like this: Why are you lamenting for no good reason? And why are you causing distress to me, your worshipable deity? I assure you that all your ambitions will soon be fulfilled. Text 84. Dear Brahmana, please remember the words of Vishweshwara, the husband of Uma. Go by the path along the shore of the Yamuna to Sri Vrindavan. Commentary. While reminding the Brahmana of Lord Vishweshwara's instruction, Lord Gopal repeated it from his own mouth and in his own words, thus making it his direct order also. Apart from this, Vishweshwara, Lord Shiva, is the husband of the goddess Kamakya, the spiritual authority who gave the Brahmana his mantra. So the Brahmana should not neglect the instruction. Text 85. By my mercy, there you will obtain extraordinary pleasure. Go, and don't delay anywhere on the road for any reason. Commentary. The pleasure to be had in Sri Vrindavan is incomparable, superior to all four kinds of success in worldly endeavor: religiosity, economic development, sense gratification, and liberation. The Brahmana should be undistracted while on the road to Vrindavan. He shouldn't stray from devotional service onto the side roads of jnana and karma. Lord Madhava here advises the Brahmana that good fortune will arise by his mercy only, the Lord's mercy, not that of anyone else. But that mercy of Lord Madhava will appear especially in certain places, at certain times, and in certain company. And it's almost 8 o'clock. we'll stop our reading here, Hare Krishna, and start tomorrow at text 86. So if we have any reflections or comments or discussion, please be our guest. Hare Krishna.
Chimanjay said, Jai Guru Maharaj, spirited as ever.
Well, I don't know how spirited I am. I'm pretty, yeah, thank you very much. It's the magic of hearing the Shastra in the company of the Vaishnavas. And the magic of hearing the Chaitanya Charitamrita in order to assist Srila Prabhupada in publishing his books in an audiobook format, first time. Hare Krishna. That's it. I think that you are all very sensitive and very wonderful. Because I was thinking, I'm pretty exhausted actually. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 is 9. This will make 10 hours of hearing chanting today. So I'm a little exhausted, but feeling very blissful. So I can't complain at all. So I thank you very much. Sri Brhad Bhagavatamrta. Wait, we have one more comment. Sham Kishore is just lit up.
This is from Anadi Keshara.
Anadi?
Keshara.
Keshav?
Keshara.
Keshara. Anadi Keshara. Haribo.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, thank you once again. While reading, I was reflecting on what I have in common with this so-called ignorant Brahman, in the sense that I'm also chanting a mantra, the goal of which I really know very little about. I realize I have a long way to go.
Well, that's the first step, isn't it? The first step is to have honest simplicity and humility. To realize that you have a long way to go. That's a very good symptom, very good sign. Because that will make you more receptive when you're hearing. And the knowledge will go in deeper and quicker, which we pray for, that it will. Thank you very much, everyone. Sri Brhad Bhagavatamrta ki jai. Samaveda Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Gaur Premanandi. Hari Hari Bo. See you tomorrow night. Same time, same place, same topic. The bliss of the Supreme Personality of Godhead's devotional service. Hare Krishna. See you tomorrow. Hari Bo.